Across America, you're listening to the Veterans Impact Show, featuring stories of veterans who continue the mission in their communities with honor, courage, and commitment. Brought to you by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation and the Texas Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Welcome aboard. I'm Jim Blythe, U.S. Navy veteran, and your host this morning. My partner, the great Chuck Wright, is watching his son graduate from high school and can't be with us. So we're so excited about that young man graduating and becoming also an Eagle Scout. He got his Court of Honor this week. So congratulations to Travis and to Chuck Wright, and I hope you guys have a really blessed day. This is a very special program for me because since 2015, when we started this program, one of the first interviews I ever did was with a man named Clint Bruce, and he talked about something that was relatively new that I didn't know about called Carry the Load. Today, I've got a great guest. I want you guys to meet Josh Lewis. Josh, welcome aboard.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jim. Excited to be here.
Hey, you are a Marine. You know,
Yes,
Chuck
sir.
tells me, because he's a Marine, that that's the men's department of the Navy. Is that true?
That's very accurate.
You served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and basically, would you tell us a story of what fired you up to join Carry the Load and get involved with Carry the Load?
I came back in 2011 from Afghanistan. I got 2010. I came back from Afghanistan and came back to Dallas in 2011 and started working for Clint, one of the founders of Carry the Load. And I had just started working for the company. And he says, hey, come into this meeting. I'm talking to this guy about something we're going to do over Memorial Day. And I'm sitting in here in this meeting, and I'm listening to this guy named Stephen Hawley and Clint Bruce talk about, hey, they want to walk for 20 hours and 11 minutes. I had done plenty of walking. I was like, this is not intelligent. There's no reason we should do this. Who wants to walk this long? This is crazy. And I step out of the meeting, and Stephen and Clint are fired up. And as I stepped out, Clint looked at me, and Clint was my new boss. He looked at me and goes, man, brother, this is so exciting. The whole company's going to do it. And so immediately this dumb Marine thought, hey, this is mandatory. And so my first time I was out there, I thought it was mandatory that the whole company would be out there, and it turns out it wasn't. And 10 hours into it, I was like, hey, Clint, where's the rest of the company? And he said, brother, this wasn't mandatory. I'm an idiot, but that's okay. As I kept walking, I realized that there was a reason to keep walking. There was an anger that I was still carrying. See, I lost a number of brothers in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I didn't really necessarily ever deal with the anger I carried, the guilt I felt. And so as I kept walking, and I remembered the times that I hiked with those guys, the times that we endured pain, it allowed me to just remember them, to let go of the anger and to heal a little bit. So with every step, I've been able to heal, and that's what's kept me going with Carry the Load.
You know, Josh, one of the things people don't realize who are not military, those weren't just your friends or your compatriots. Those were your brothers. When we get into that situation, we literally develop relationships that in many cases is deeper than family. And so to lose those friends, lose those brothers, that's a heartbreaking deal because you not only lost them, but you got to watch them die.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you go to combat, you can say you're fighting for your country. You could say you're fighting for your family. You could say you're fighting, for some person back home. But the reality is you fight for those to your left and right. The only thing you think about at that moment is keeping the guy to your left and the guy to your right alive, doing your job and making sure you all make it home. And so when somebody doesn't make it home, it's crushing. It hurts. And you feel like you lost somebody that was, if possible, closer than family.
Now, your teammates were killed by an IUD?
The ones from June 15th, 2005, yes, sir.
Man, that is hard to take. That is hard to take. And you were saying you carried a lot of anger and you hurt a lot from that.
Yes, sir.
I think everybody, I lost 12 pilots in Vietnam, and I had 5 POWs, including John McCain, who was one of my pilots. And we were fortunate that we got him back and we got Dave Carey and those men back. But it's a tremendous loss. And so Carry the Load came out of that loss, because if I remember Clint Bruce's story, on Memorial Day, he was upset. Years ago, he was upset about everything had turned into hamburgers and beer in the backyard, and everybody had forgotten what Memorial Day was about. And
That's absolutely right. He was just standing around looking at it and going, "Hey, this is no longer a day to remember, my friends. This is a day for barbecue, leg day, mattress sale, car sale. While those things aren't inherently bad, you're not doing what the true meaning of Memorial Day is, and that's remembering those that paid the ultimate sacrifice."
And if I remember correctly, he said he put on now this goes back to 2015. He put on a backpack and went for a walk, and he was walking off his anger, and he saw somebody, I think he said an older gentleman, and the man looked at him and said, "Son, who are you carrying?" Did I get the story right? And that's kind of what the birth of Carry the Load was. Who are you carrying? Who do you actually remember of people that you were serving with? And it goes deeper than that, because think about this. We lost, I don't know, unbelievable number of people in World War I, World War II. I mean, I grew up as a kid with every uncle and every member of my family had served in the military. And there were a lot of people who had losses. My Uncle Jimmy had been a POW in Germany for a year and a half. So this is important, and it gives a chance for those who are participating to heal. Can you tell me some stories about some of that healing, and not only how it helped you each year as you participate?
It's been amazing to see the healing. So the first year in 2011, we were in Dallas, and there's maybe, I think it was around 500 of us that participated that first year and walked in Dallas, and there was a lot of healing among a small group, and some of those guys immediately realized this is bigger than Dallas. This is something the nation needs to heal from, and they started a relay in 2012, and that went from West Point and traveled down the East Coast and came to Dallas, and we've added more relays since then. But it's incredible to get out there and walk, and you can be walking in the middle of Virginia, Arizona, Colorado, wherever you're at, and somebody will walk up, and you can just kind of see it. They're quiet, they're contemplating, they're thinking, their mind's going. And I had one guy, he was walking, I just kind of walked up to him. I was like, "Hey, tell me why you're out here. Tell me who you're carrying." And he just broke down and talked about his roommate that he had lost, and they had served together and were roommates together, and he had lost his brother, and it was just, you hear these stories. The thing is veterans hold everything inside. That's not safe. That's not a safe place. We need to get it out. We need to talk, and we need to remember our brothers. We say there's two deaths: your physical death, and then the death of when people forget you. And so we need to talk about our brothers and sisters that we've lost to keep them alive and keep their memory alive. And so as they talk and we're walking these miles together, it could be 5-8 miles at a time together, they're able to share these stories and tell me about the hero that they lost, and it's healing.
I think everybody needs to know, if you want to participate and be a part of this, go to carrytheload.org. Is that correct? Do I have it right? Now, we also have teams that people can join, so as a way to sign up. Diane, my wife, has put up the poster for the Memorial Day campaign, the Veterans Impact Show team. There are other teams. You can hit join a team and become a part of somebody's team. We're going to be getting more and more people to donate. You can put donate now. This is something that's really important, and I don't think anybody realizes the impact since 2011 that Carry the Load now raises a very significant amount of money. Do you know about how much, Josh?
Well, so far this year, we've raised a little over $1.3 million, which has been awesome. Our goal is $2 million this year. But over our 11-year period, we've raised over $30 million. It's been incredible to see the growth and the support we've had as we continue to march across the nation.
And Josh, I know that money goes to like One Tribe, which is working towards suicide prevention, goes to a number of things. Matter of fact, I was talking with a guy yesterday at the golf tournament for the Dallas Veterans Resource Center. And he was saying, yes, Carry the Load contributes to our funds that help us a lot. So you're not just helping the veterans and the families. And
Yeah,
people remember, you're financially helping a lot of 501c3s. Can you talk about some of those real quick that you guys are
absolutely.
helping?
Absolutely. So that's our continuum of care leg. So we kind of operate with three legs. The first is the awareness, which is our walking and restoring the true meaning of Memorial Day. But the second would be continuum of care, which is what you alluded to. We have 50 nonprofit partners that we've selected, we've vetted, and those nonprofit partners either help veterans directly and first responders directly, or they help the families that have lost veterans and first responders. And so it's awesome to see just our funds go to these partnerships, these nonprofits, and they get to do their mission. You know, we've got nonprofits such as the Adaptive Training Foundation. It was founded in 2014, started out helping veterans learn how to work out again after they had limbs that they had lost in combat. Now we help civilians, veterans, first responders, everybody cope with whether it be a disease or a limb that's been lost, or TBI, traumatic brain injury. We help them learn kind of how to be that athlete again.
Josh, one of the people, I'm interrupting you, one of the people, when you talk about David Vapora's Adaptive Training Foundation, I met Curtis Mills. And there is a guy who was, man, he lost everything.
Yeah, that was Travis Mills. Yeah, Travis lost everything. He was one of 5 surviving quad amputees at the time. Great guy, just full of energy. And David saw him and said, "Hey, you want to work out?" And Travis looked at him with no arms and no legs and was like, "Hey, you're funny, man. Is that a joke? Like, what's the joke here, man?" And David said, "Hey, you can work out again, and you're still a whole person, and let's do this." And then they got to where Travis was doing some great stuff and able to do things with his prosthetics as well that were pretty impressive. So it was an inspiring story to get started. But man, it's been amazing to watch the Adaptive Training Foundation grow and benefit from this money. You've got One Tribe, you've already discussed. One Tribe Foundation, Jacob Schick over there has done amazing things to fight veteran and first responder suicide. You've got the Boot Campaign, as they are helping people across America. It's just been amazing to see these nonprofits really benefit from these funds.
Yeah, they've flourished and they've done so well. And I know Jacob Schick. We've had him on. I've had David Vapora on when we started in 2015. This has been one of the most wonderful things for me to get to meet all you guys who are just unbelievable in what you're doing. And what a lot of people don't realize is what veterans do lead the nation. What I just said is what veterans do lead the nation. And a lot of people don't realize that, from the VA healthcare system on down. And so we're leading the nation back to honor and to restore the meaning of Memorial Day. And I think that's so important. So we're going to be right back after word from all of our partners. I'm talking with Joshua Lewis, and he is an incredible member of Carry the Load. He's one of their ambassadors. He's got plenty of stories to tell. This is an exciting opportunity. So join us on Facebook, join us on YouTube, and go to carrytheload.org and get signed up. You can donate, you can participate, or you can walk. And when we come back, Josh and I are going to be talking about the experience, especially the experience of walking in the rain. And I did that in 2015. So this is an important show. This is a fun show. We'll be right back after these words from all of our partners. This is the Veterans Impact.
Yeah, you almost ran out of time there. That's third leg, when we come back, he's going to need to tell what the third leg is. There's awareness, continuum of care, and then what's the other one?
Okay, did you hear Diane, Josh? Okay, she said there were three legs. One is awareness, one is a continuation of care, continuum of care, and what's the third one?
The Carry the Flag education program, and I'll work that one in.
All right. So again, when we come back, this segment's a little bit shorter. And again, I apologize for my IT issue with my send button and the computer. If I'd have been a real good Marine this morning, that computer would be somewhere probably in the middle of White Rock Lake, because it would have gone down the creek from behind my house.
Yeah, I mean, you just get mad and you throw them out. I get it. I learned that my first day at my first week at JP Morgan. I got frustrated with technology and I slammed the desk and I was like, "Oh, Mom!" And then I stood up and I was like, "Sorry, Carol. I realized I can't do that here."
What, I think it's amazing. You've gone. How many years did you spend in the Marine Corps, Josh?
8 years.
8 years. When we come back, I want to dig in a little bit about what motivated you to become a Marine, because I think the Marine Corps, without a doubt, is our exceptional military service, and it requires exceptional people that go through an exceptional experience. Now, I was Navy. I think what we did was exceptional, but it's not the same as what you guys did. And I think people should understand that, a little bit about that, just how exceptional the Corps is and what it does. And so you were 8 years, you were infantry in the Corps. You were an 03, a grunt, they say.
That's it. I was a grunt. I was a knuckle dragger, a bullet sponge.
Ouch. And how many combat tours did you do in 8 years?
I did 3.
Wow. Well, I did 3 on aircraft carrier in Vietnam. I only had 24 months of combat duty. I'd be willing to bet you had a heck of a lot more.
I mean, combat, I was probably about the same. I had one other deployment that was a Westpac going off to the Philippines and China, Vietnam, and Okinawa. But combat tours, it was about 8 months each, so about the same.
What they say about the Navy, which is, I think, true of the Marine Corps as well, join the Navy and see the world. You mentioned the Philippines. I was there. You mentioned Okinawa. What a beautiful beach that Okinawa had. And that is a beautiful place. I got to go to Singapore, got to go to Hong Kong, got to go to China. It was an amazing adventure for a young man in his 20s. It was really amazing. Where did you grow up?
In Dallas.
In Dallas?
In fact, whenever you and I get together, if you live near White Rock, I bet you and I grew up somewhere close to where you live.
Did you go to Bryan Adams?
My dad did. I would have gone to Woodrow Wilson.
Okay, I went to Bryan Adams. All right, we're going to be back on the air in just a second, so hang with me, brother. Welcome back to the Veterans Impact Show. Thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation and the Texas Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Now, let's continue this conversation. You're on board with Jim Blythe, U.S. Navy veteran, and Josh Lewis, Marine Corps veteran. They say, Josh, and I have to steal Chuck's joke that the Marines are the men's department of the Navy. I don't think that's true when it comes to the SEALs, but without a doubt, the Marines lead the way. And I'm so thankful to have you on board. And we're talking about Carry the Load, which is an amazing. So for people just now tuning in, a real quick overview of what Carry the Load is and what we are achieving with that organization.
Yeah, Carry the Load was started in 2011, seeks to restore the true meaning of Memorial Day. We do that through 3 legs. One is awareness. We're walking across the nation. We've got 5 relays coming to Dallas right now. Memorial Day, we'll have a big rally here in Dallas, and really that's just letting people know, hey, Memorial Day, we need to take a few minutes to recognize those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. We're also doing it through Continuum of Care. We've vetted and identified 50 amazing nonprofits that are helping veterans and first responders and their families, and we support those financially. And then the last one we do is through our Carry the Flag program, which is a educational program. We're going into schools with a curriculum to teach the next generation, hey, this is why Memorial Day is important. This is when it started. This is the importance of it. This is why we continue to celebrate on Memorial Day.
I got to participate. My first Carry the Load was in 2015, and Diane and I were there. And boy, you talk about a rainy day and a Sunday, that was it. Man, it was a deluge. But everybody was march walking. Everybody still in the rain. Matter of fact, we had a tent with a table, and we had to go get a bunch of plywood because we were sinking in the mud. But everybody still participated in the attitudes. You could see a change in people as you participated in the walk around Dallas. It was truly amazing. And I know you walked that year in the rain.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was 2015. That was the wettest month Dallas had on record, and man, it was monsoon season. And to your point, we were sinking in the mud, and it was a lot of fun. But I think the rain, the Marines, we always joke, if it's not raining, we're not training. And so it just kind of helped us feel at home, and we felt like, wow, this is actual. Now we're really in the suck, and this is a good place to be.
Yeah, it was. It was an amazing adventure for both Diane and I. And Diane, her father was Air Force, but she didn't have the same kind of military experience. Obviously, I did by serving in the Navy and being part of a military family. So that was a great sort of introduction to the military culture, and what an important thing, carry the load. Again, we have, for Facebook and for people to know, we have our Carry the Load from the carrytheload.org, where you can join our team, which is the Veterans Impact Show. You see our logo, and donate. You can find a team. If you've got a team, join a team. If you want to create a team, create a team. It's important to build. Now, you were talking about the legs, and excuse me, we've had a dust storm the last 24 hours in Dallas.
Yeah.
You talked about the leg that got started down the East Coast. Tell us where the other legs are and how they work, and if you have any experience there, because I think you said you did the West Coast leg this year, didn't you?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to be on the West Coast leg from about San Diego to Tempe, Arizona. And so that was a blast to be out there. We always love it. But the West Coast relay, that started in 2016, and that starts from Seattle. So they're going from Seattle to Dallas. That's actually the longest relay. It's 6,600 miles. And you see some of the best country that we have to offer here in the U.S. Then we have a couple of other relays. In 2019, we started the Midwest route. That one comes from Minneapolis. 2020, we have the Mountain States route, and that one's it lives up to its name. If you feel like walking some hills, then you go to the Mountain State route. And then this year we added our fifth route, which was the New England route. And so
wow!
20,000.
We're going to be taking a break, and we're going to come back and talk more about these routes, but more about how you can participate, join in, donate. But most of all, if you're in Dallas, go and watch and be a part of this, because it's one of the most amazing adventures. And Josh and I are going to talk about that when we come back. If you're in other parts of the nation, go to carrytheload.org. And while all of the walks have been done by now, isn't that correct, Josh?
They're getting to it. They're wrapping up.
They're wrapping up. You could do it next year. And boy, let me tell you, it's a wonderful adventure. So this is Jim Blythe with the Veterans Impact Show. We're missing Chuck Wright, another Marine, but we're going to be right back with you in just a second. This is Veterans Impact. Continuing, and we're live on Facebook, and man, I got to tell you, I like that T-shirt. I've got one of them, and I should have worn it today. I was for some reason, we were talking about this, and I was remembering the great Jim Dolan, who started Heroes on the Water. So I put on his T-shirt that he gave me in 2015. You know, we have met some of the most incredible people that you wouldn't normally meet in everyday life, who are veterans and who have been through so much. Men like Shiloh Harris, men like Clint Bruce, men who are like David Vapor, Adaptive Training Foundation, who didn't serve in the military but was a professional athlete, and he wanted to give back. It's amazing, and people should find out. Man, I want my children to meet these people. I want my kids to see guys like Josh Lewis and Jacob Schick and Clint Bruce. Seeing Clint Bruce, you're seeing a towering man of unbelievable character. Wouldn't you say, buddy?
Absolutely. You know, Clint was a, NFL linebacker, Navy SEAL, just a very gregarious personality. And he is a awesome guy to have in the room and to pick his brain and be motivated. It's a fun experience.
Isn't it? I think one year after Carry the Load, we were going back to the car, and I ran into both Jim Dolan and Clint Bruce, and we were all talking, and I felt like a midget.
Well, you got to imagine how I feel. I'm like the shortest one out of all of them. So, yeah, I'm only 5'9", and I'm towered over, so it's pretty funny.
Well, I'm 6'1", and I was towered over, and 5'9". You just remember, dynamite comes in real small packages, buddy.
There you go.
So this is really important. Again, Facebook, thank you for being with us on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us in South Texas as well and across the nation. Thanks to Joe in Jacksonville for his text messages and email. Great Navy veteran. So thank you for being on board. We're going to be continuing this conversation in just a minute as we're talking about Carry the Load. So go to carrytheload.org. This is Josh Lewis up on the screen. He's one of their ambassadors. He is very involved with Carry the Load. Used to work for Clint Bruce and that marvelous organization he's got. The main thing we want you to know is there is an educational component for this that is so important to our nation. It's helping the young people know and understand about Carry the Load, but about Memorial Day. Carry the Load is about remembering. And I think, like Clint Bruce, I realized some years ago that Memorial Day wasn't about the men and women who have died in the military service of our nation. It was about hamburgers, beer, and maybe a chocolate cake that was covered with red, white, and blue icing. It's really about remembering people. And I think when you do that, you educate the next generation. There are so few of us now that are veterans. So few of us, less than 1% of the nation is serving in the military. And what people don't realize is the military leads the way. It's led the way in economics with World War II veterans who came back and used their leadership that they learned in basically being able to adapt, improvise, and get things accomplished. It is so important that people understand. When I came out of the Navy in Vietnam, I was spit on and called names. We don't do that anymore because these men and women are keeping us safe. So we're going to be right back on the air in just a minute. Stay with me. Welcome back to the Veterans Impact Show. Thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation and the Texas Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Now, let's continue this conversation. Man, I'm having a great day. We're talking about Carry the Load. We want you to tune in, join in, and be a part of Carry the Load. Joining me, Josh Lewis. And if you don't know and you're just tuning in, I'm Jim Blythe, U.S. Navy veteran. If you're a regular, Chuck Wright is helping his son graduate from high school. He's there shouting for that kid, and what a great deal. Josh Lewis, let's really quick recapture what we've talked about from the standpoint of what is Carry the Load and what are your three big initiatives, and then I want to get into more about the educational part. So Take it away for a second, Josh, and tell us a little bit about Carry the Load and how people can find out about it.
Yeah, Carry the Load, Restoring the True Meaning of Memorial Day. We do that through our our awareness leg. We're walking across the nation. We'd love to have you join us. Check us out at carrytheload.org to see where we're at, find one of the relays near you, see if there's a rally near you, or join us here in Dallas on Memorial Day weekend. We'd love to have you.
You did the West Coast this year, didn't you? You were talking about from San Diego to Tempe?
That's correct.
Buddy, that's one of the hottest places in this nation, down through that highway. I've been there, done that, but not walking it, man. Thank God for air conditioning in a car.
We had a record this year. We set it in Phoenix as walking up to the Chase Stadium. We set records at 10 a.m. It was 102 degrees. That was a lot of fun.
I bet you had a great big baseball cap on that covered things up.
I absolutely did.
You did a lot of walking in Iraq and Afghanistan as well. You told me you did 3 tours. And to go back for our audiences just now joining it, you joined Carry the Load because you were working for Clint Bruce, but you realized you needed to work through some of the things that had happened to you, and you are carrying some of your brothers that you lost overseas. Tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, so a lot of my anger stemmed from a very specific date. I lost a lot of guys. We lost a number of them in 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, but none closer than for me, a guy named Tyler Trevelyan. You know, he's a guy from Dallas, just a great guy. I mean, when you think of Marine, you think of him. He was, 6'3", 6'4", 220, just zero body fat. Every girl wanted to date him. Every guy wanted to be him. And it was just, he was that poster boy Marine. And yeah, he was just amazing. And so he and I were roommates for 6 months. I got married. We deployed a couple months later, and in Ramadi, his vehicle was driving down a dirt road, and it got hit. We lost all those Marines, and so with him, we lost Lance Corporals Flores, Maynard, and Whitley, and then Corporal Jaime as well. And so those 5 Marines were taken from us that night, and Tyler was the closest one I had ever lost, and it hit me hard. And that anger, I think initially we just push through as Marines. We don't take the time to go, okay, let's grieve. We don't have time for that. We just keep on with the mission. We continue to fight. We continue to stay in the battle because you still have brothers out there that you're fighting for to your left and your right. And so we all push through, and the way people grieve months later when you're back home manifests itself in very different ways. And for me, I was angry. I was yelling. I was mentally and verbally abusive towards my wife. I was pretty harsh to all my friends, pushed them away. I isolated. I drank heavily. And so some people, turn to spiritual things. Some people turn towards anger. Some people turn towards drinking. And however we do it, that's how we grieve months later. Carry the Load, what they've done is they've given a great outlet for veterans to come back and remember and just memorialize those that we lost overseas, the guys that we walked with.
I think this is so incredibly important, and that's healing. Now, you mentioned 3 aspects of what you guys do. I think the educational aspect is so incredible. Can you talk a little bit or tell me some stories about what you guys are doing to educate the next generation?
And we realized the need for education pretty early on. And I can tell you, I was walking through Raleigh, North Carolina, beautiful day, and I could hear this kid, probably 7 years old, 8 years old, behind me, and he's talking to his dad. And his dad, it's just, well, walk up and ask him. He's like, but Dad, I'm nervous. And his dad just kept encouraging him. And finally, this kid walked up to me in the front of the column that I was leading, and I was carrying the American flag, and he looked at me, he goes, hey, who are you carrying? Why do you do this? And I was able to walk with that kid and just tell him, hey, look, I walked for the men that died on June 15, 2005, and we're walking out here to remember their lives, to honor their lives. And so as I sat there and we talked to this child, this kid, about my friends and what they did and their sacrifice, it clicked. We need to be teaching the next generation. Now, I didn't come up with it, the education part of it, but Carry the Load realized that need after hearing stories like that. And so with that, we began to really pour into a curriculum that will teach the next generation why it's important to just honor those. And so we started the Carry the Flag education program in 2017. It can be in any elementary, middle school, high school, and teach the next generation why it's important. It's great in a social studies class, a history class, some kind of homeroom class, an easy plug-in curriculum for teachers.
Last night, Diane and I were at an event, and just as sort of a segue, the executive director of the Halo Freedom Foundation, which brings about 50 guys together once a year and gives them a chance to do a lot of fun things like jump out of airplanes and race cars and shoot machine guns and all that sort of crazy stuff. But it really helps, and it brings people back and gives them a chance to continue the mission, which is continuing to help and heal. And I think one of the things we've got to do, because being a Vietnam veteran, what I went through, we need to heal each other, but we also got to heal this nation. We've really got to heal this nation. And we've been torn apart. I blame all of us for participating in that. We've been torn apart. We've got to come back together. We've got to be able to talk and learn and grow. And I think Carry the Flag is a big deal. One of the things the executive director said last night with Halo Foundation?
What's that, Jim?
The most important part, everyone to a man who participated in the Halo deal, and I think Halo is one of the charities that you guys take care of as well, said the most important thing was when they met with the high school. That day, there were no absentees in the high school, and to meet with all of these high school students and talk about their purpose and their mission and carrying forward and educational was one of the most powerful things. And I just absolutely admire you guys for Carry the Flag and how that's inspired people like the Halo Freedom Foundation and others that you work with to be able to help people and to understand. They got to understand, because if nobody understands and nobody joins our military and nobody goes, we're going to be in a real bad situation.
And with education, it's important to teach that next generation. If we don't know our history, if we don't know what we've gone through, then we're doomed to make those same mistakes. We're not a political organization. We're not here for Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians. We don't care about that. We're agnostic to that. What we care about is for you to take a minute and say, hey, maybe you don't know anybody that really served. You don't know anybody that's lost their life, but you can at least say, hey, I'm free here in this country, and today I'm out skateboarding, or I'm out riding my bike, or I'm out doing whatever, and I'm able to do those things because of their sacrifice. We've got first responders on the ground every day keeping us safe. We've got firefighters that will respond, rescue us if we need it. We've got police that will keep us safe, right? And all of that, we need all of that, regardless of political affiliation. You can at least take a minute and say thank you, and that's all it is.
Hey, have you got any stories, or have you had any experience, I know I have, of going into a school or an elementary school and talking to the kids? And like you said, the little boy came up to you that was 7 years old.
So I had the opportunity to speak at one of the high schools here in Dallas, and it was awesome to walk in. And this school has a strong ROTC program led by a great Marine, and it's amazing to walk in and begin to tell your stories. And I told the story of how we lost Tyler and the men that we lost with him, and to watch them really get captivated, but also be inspired and have a reason to keep just driving for excellence. It's one thing for parents to tell you, hey, you need to do good in school, and that's right. But it's another thing to say, okay, but here's why, and here's what I'm going to drive to, and here's something to aspire to.
You know, I think it's so important. And one of the things for young men and women, I know going to boot camp changed me. I know when you got your globe and anchor, that must have been the biggest thing in the world for you. It's a
It
life
was.
changer.
It was. I mean, especially if you see the loser that I was before the Marines. I mean, I was. You could say I was a silver spoon baby. I mean, I had everything I needed, and man, I was not on a path to success. And going through the Marine Corps, going into the Marines, and through the boot camp, drastically changed me. I mean, I went from a goofball weighing 213 pounds or 223 pounds to a guy that was weighing 168 and yes sir, no sir, and came out with drive. And so it was definitely a pivotal moment for me.
You know, the same thing happened to me. I was in college. I was floundering. I was not doing well. I didn't like the school I was in. And I got drafted, and thank God I had talked with the Navy Reserve, and I was able to get into the Navy. And it changed me. It really changed me. When I came home, my mom and dad from boot camp, my mom and my dad knew what was going to happen. My mom looked at me and said, "You're different." And that is a positive difference, Josh. It's important. And so I stress what you don't know will hurt you, because a lot of schools don't allow JROTC programs. You mentioned a school here in Dallas that did. What school is that?
It's the International Leadership of Texas.
Oh,
It's
wow.
a
Man,
great school.
that's an incredible school. These programs are so important. Okay, what you don't know will hurt you. When I went through high school, I didn't know that there was Sea Cadets. I didn't know there was Young Marines. I didn't know that there was a ROTC program at some of the universities that could have paid for me to go to college and given me a stipend, that I
Yeah.
could have graduated from college and I could have had a career. What I also didn't know, and I'll bet you can tell me a story about this, is how I learned to learn, because that's one of the processes of boot camp, teaches you how to learn. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. They just break you down until you're able to just strip away everything that's non-essential and realize, pick out the priorities that are in front of you and focus on those. I love the feeling they give you in the Marine Corps. When you leave boot camp, you feel like you could be attacking a hill with machine guns, and all you have is a water gun. And no matter what, you're going to win. No matter what, I'm going to be the winner, even though I'm the one with the water gun and they have machine guns. And what they do is they teach you to strip away everything that's a non-essential and figure out how to succeed in that mission with what you have. And so, yeah, you're learning how to read something correctly, how to focus correctly, how to remember certain facts, what's important and what's not. They teach you how to relearn everything. It's great. It's a great skill to have.
How to adapt, how to improvise, and then how to accomplish. I think that's now become a Marine Corps motto, if I got it correctly. I think this is so terribly important that people understand. So we're going to take a break for just a second and hear from all of our commercial partners. I've got Josh Lewis with Carry the Load. You can see on Facebook our Carry the Load Memorial May Campaign 2022. Go to carrytheload.org. You want to march? You want to participate? You want to meet great men and women? Join us. Join us throughout the nation. If you missed out this year, you can join us next year. All right, we're going to be right back after these words from all of our partners. I hope you're enjoying this, and what's really going to be enjoyable is enjoying Memorial Day with something other than a beer and a burger and a chocolate cookie. You're going to get a chance to meet some of the greatest men and women in the world, and a lot of that, too, is carried, I think, so you can see it. All right, we'll be right back after these words. This is the Veterans Impact Show, continuing the mission.
Okay, you may not use the word important in this show. Your alternatives are big, critical, crucial, decisive, essential, extensive, far-reaching, great, imperative, influential. Can give you an idea.
You know, my wife just gave me a really commanding performance of how I can use my vocabulary. You know, that's one of the things we learned in the military, isn't it?
Hey, she should be thrilled I'm not using the vocabulary they taught me.
Oh, yeah. Can I tell a story? When I came home from Vietnam the second time, my mother picked me up at Love Field, and I was driving the car. She said, "You want to drive?" Of course, obviously, I hadn't been behind the wheel of a car in a long time. I'd been on an aircraft carrier. And so we're driving, and this guy cuts me off and almost hits me. And I came out with a tirade that would have curled the hair on the back of a bull elephant. And all of a sudden, I looked over, and there was my mother sitting next to me. And Mom said, "Son, I taught you to have much better vocabulary than that. Son, I taught you to be much smarter than that. And besides, damn it, it sounds like hell." I bet you had one or two of those, didn't you?
Oh, I've had a few of them.
And again, as we're on Facebook, and thank you for being with us on Facebook, we're talking with Josh Lewis with Carry the Load. You can see our Memorial May campaign for Carry the Load. Our goal is our goal is to raise a couple of $100, but I would like to raise a couple of thousand. So join us, send your donation. It's important. All the money that we give goes to Carry the Load, and basically what they do is they turn around and support other organizations. We mentioned the Adaptive Training Foundation. We mentioned the Halo for Freedom Foundation. What a crazy deal that is. That's amazing what it does. We also mentioned Heroes on the Water, the tribe, which used to be 22 Kill, and they focus 22 Kill, and now the tribe focuses on suicide prevention. One of the things that's important when you talk about suicide prevention, what you guys have done as a collective has changed the suicide from about 21 a day down to a much smaller number. And we're getting to a point where we're getting it better and better every day. Correct, Josh?
Absolutely. I mean, suicide has been one that we've been working on. We're working with a number of doctors to see what else we can do to see how we can improve and encourage veterans and first responders to come out and just discuss their issues. But we've seen a lot of improvement there as the community itself has begun to talk and reach out and double check on one another.
That's a key. Tune in, plug in, be a participant, and that's how you can continue the mission. Continue the mission is a concept that we carry here on the Veterans Impact Show. How can we bring together, and not just about veterans, but how can we bring this nation back together? What an amazing thing. Carry the Load is focused on Memorial Day, which is one of our most important holidays, to try and bring this nation together. All right, we're going to be back on the air in just a second, and we're going to wrap this thing up. Josh, gosh almighty, thank you for being on board with me this morning. This is really great. So hang with me. Welcome back to the Veterans Impact Show. Thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation and the Texas Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Now, let's continue this conversation. Well, we're having a great conversation, and I'm about to bring this ship of a program back into the dock. And joining me, Joshua Lewis, who is with, basically, you're a real estate broker, right? You're a residential real estate broker?
I'm an agent here in Dallas. That's right.
Oh, man. And what's your company?
I'm with BPH Realty.
Okay, if people wanted to get a hold of you here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and do business with a Marine, where would they go? What's your website?
You can check me out at bphrealty.com. You'll see me on the team page. You can also just shoot me an email, joshlewis@bphrealty.com. I'd love to help you out.
Absolutely, because I got to tell you, what is everybody's biggest investment? It's their home. What's the biggest transaction they ever go through? It's their home. And what's their biggest expense every month? Their home. You want to get the best for you to be able to take care of your family. And I'll tell you something else, because I've been in real estate pretty much all my life. the one most stabilizing factor for a family is owning a home. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's a great way to build wealth, take care of your family, and not just for you, but for generations.
You bet. For generations to come. And that's what Carry the Load is doing as well, is focusing on generations to come. And I want to thank you so much for what you guys do. If people want to get someone from Carry the Load to come in with a Carry the Flag educational program, how can they do that? Do they contact Carry the Load through the website, or do they contact, is that the best way to do it?
Yeah, through the website, you can easily contact us, and through that, you can say, "Hey, interested in having an ambassador come out to speak." We've got ambassadors throughout the nation that speak at schools, different events, and happy to come out, tell you about Carry the Load, what we do, share a story or two, and just continue to further the mission.
Let me tell you, if you're a school teacher, I was invited by a school teacher to come in to a 5th grade class, and those kids had all put together little drawings and posters to say thank you. And it was amazing. You know what? There was, in this whole class that I met with, there was one kid who had a family member in the military or who had been in the military. One. We're finding that throughout our educational system and throughout our younger generation, and especially in some of the more disadvantaged neighborhoods, you don't find as many veterans as we need to be out there in education and doing things like that. And thank you so much, Josh. Josh, I want to ask every person I interview, what would you say to a young man or woman very quickly who says, gee, you were a Marine, should I join? What would you say to them?
Absolutely. It'll teach you leadership. It'll teach you encouragement. It'll teach you things that you've never had. It'll give you so much discipline. And from that, it's going to open up the doors to the corporate world. It's going to open up doors wherever you want to be. It's going to help you out. And if anything, you can walk away with a good college education after that, get into college, and really set you up for success.
Here in Texas, we have the Hazelwood Act that you can go to any state university, and that pays for your tuition and everything. The VA benefits pays for getting an education. But what a lot of people don't know is there are ROTC programs and reserve programs that you can go through, which will pay while you are in school. So it's important to find out what is available to help young men and women enter the world of excellence, enter the world of the military. It's not all about combat like you did. Many times it's like technical jobs like I did on the aircraft carriers. So, Josh, I want to close with a prayer. Lord God, we thank you for the men and women who serve around the world, protecting us, being with us, and those who serve as first responders as well. Thank you for protecting them. Thank you for keeping them safe. And Lord God, thank you for us remembering those who are gone before us and those who have sacrificed everything. Thank you, God, in so many ways for all you do for us. This we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Josh Lewis, again, give out your business address, where the BPH Realty, is that it?
Yeah, send me an email, joshlewis@bphrealty.com. We'd love to help you out.
Yeah, and let's get together. I found some great places that are diners, man, and without a doubt, we got to go out and share biscuit and gravy.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
All right. Thank you. And thank you again for being part of the Veterans Impact Show. This is a great opportunity. Share this with everybody. Help us to educate the next generation. Help us to be part of continuing the mission. This is Jim Blythe. And unfortunately, Chuck Wright's not here, but boy, I miss him. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And have a great Memorial Day. Be a part of Carry the Load. Thank you for being part of the Veterans Impact Show. Thank you, Josh Lewis. Man, you're a blessing today.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, good. I'm